call the meeting to order, the Board of Adjustments. Secretary, please record the roll showing Corey absent at 7:30. The minutes of the July 9th meeting are submitted for our approval. We didn't have any meeting, no meeting in August. Have you had a chance to look at those?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we accept these minutes as printed.
Motion by Pat to approve the minutes of July 9th. For a second.
Second.
Second by Trevor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried without dissent. Thank you. Regular agenda for September 10th. To consider a variance request to reduce the street yard sideback to 5 feet to 0 feet on a downtown commercial zone lot. The site is located at 288 First Street West. And who is here? Is anyone here to speak for that? No one's here. Okay. I think we'll discuss that. And discussion?
I have a question about driving by there. I realize this sign now would be moved further to the street. You haven't had any of the people around the area voice any objection or anything?
Actually, no. I wasn't aware this was on for the meeting today. I'm kind of at a loss. He only gave me one item to talk about here, so you'll have to excuse me.
There's no discussion in your department, Tom? No, sir.
Okay.
So looking at this picture, this looks like that's where it's at right now. Now, are they planning to move this closer to the street?
That's what I'm gathering.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the question, Bruce.
Okay. Closer than what this picture depicts, which is probably about 2 feet.
Right to the sidewalk? Would be. Give Tom just a couple minutes here to look at that. Is that 5 feet a real necessity? The sign is higher than the vehicles parking in front of it.
You mean the brick area?
Yeah.
There's a fence there anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically the same height as that fence, and that fence is, you can't see through that at all from the vehicle.
Also, where are those, the old sign that was there's those two metal, those aren't 5 feet off right now, are they?
No, I think those would have to be moved. Because there's a sign, which there used to be a billboard there once before.
Yeah, correct.
And my only question is, when you pull up to that stop sign, is that going to, with it being solid, is that going to obstruct your vision to the right?
I would think that would be outside the 30-foot triangle.
Okay.
You know, by ordinance, that's all we go by. 30 feet each way and then diagonal. So the stop sign, I don't think would be an issue. I would think maybe parking and back, they park and go in there, don't they? I guess I'm not familiar with the driveways on this.
Yeah,
The
what-
driveway is on the first, isn't it on
I believe so.
It's on the south side.
the first? I think so.
There isn't one on Highway 22 then.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
think
go,
so.
you can get out of both sides.
Oh, you
can
can?
get out on the street, on
On
the
the-
side street and the
And the
highway.
other one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And when they park in, they drive up to the sign. So they would back into the parking lot.
I guess if that triangle is not a problem, then I don't have an issue with it, but I was just mainly concerned as you pull up to the stop sign, the vision to your right, so.
Am I mistaken, or is there a pole sign there now?
There's two vertical metal poles that are sitting there.
Two poles, and then they've got the billboard on top.
There's nothing on it.
There was, they've taken those down.
Oh, okay.
And there's a fence right, like as you can see in this diagram, if this is where the sign sits, there's a fence right there too.
But you
Already.
can kind of see through that fence.
Not really.
Not really.
Not really, but I mean, if somebody was walking and you were backing out or something, you could probably, you'd be able to see them better than with a solid rock wall there.
In my understanding, this picture is where that sign will be,
Yes.
They're asking for a
I'm
zero
not
setback.
up to speed on this, I'm sorry.
right? Okay.
So can you tell from this picture where the property line is? Is it at the edge of the fence or the edge of the sidewalk? Because they're asking for a zero setback.
I could get a picture of that in about 2 minutes, if you'd like me to. It varies, it varies greatly throughout Dickinson where the pins are versus sidewalks, public right-of-way, et cetera. But I could print out an overhead.
Trevor?
I did drive this and pull up to that stop sign this morning. It seemed to be fairly easy to still see. And I was just guessing the end of the fence was the lot though. So I mean, if you go another foot or two over, it might make a little difference, but if it's still outside that triangle.
Okay.
Any comments?
But actually, if, I don't know if that fence was permitted, but usually that fence could not be that high in the front yard to the street. It'd have to go down to 4 feet. I have no idea, and I don't know whose fence it is. Is it the house or is it the commercial building?
No idea. There's also a row of bushes. I think, and this picture doesn't have any leaves on it, but there's also a row of bushes behind the fence that's fairly tall. That somewhat blocks the same view. I think you can just kind of see the partial of it, but if you drive by now, you can see it.
Other questions? Comments? You want more information?
To me, the view's already obstructed as much as this sign's gonna, I don't think this sign is gonna really add to the obstruction because the fence is already there.
Okay. They're about the same height. That's what-
Yeah.
Other comments? If not, is there a motion to approve or deny the request?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
Motion by Bruce to approve the variance as stated. Requirement section 39, 12, 100C1 have been met. Okay? Is there a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Joe. Any further discussion? If not, Bruce,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. Motion carried without dissent. Thank you. Next on our agenda, to consider a variance request to exceed the maximum square footage of an accessory structure by 1,200 square feet. And this is on an R1 zone lot, the site is located at 7536, 36 B Street Southwest. And who's here to speak for that? You want to come up and give us your name?
Good morning, Ryan Heiser.
Mark Ryan,
Good morning.
tell us all the particulars.
I just would like to build a shop big enough to put our camper and boat and Jeep and, a few other things in. Just be all personal use. It wouldn't be commercial by any means, no business run out of it or anything.
Questions for Ryan?
Have you decided on the size?
Yeah, we've looked at a 40 by 60. We've talked to Bush about that. I put on the drawing I did there was the 30 by 40, the 1,200 square foot, and I just went, bigger around it. I think I'd written 40 by 50 on there as an option in case you guys said 40 by 60 was too big, then, that would be my fallback plan, would be the 40 by 50.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm here, I think it said either or, so. I
Right,
agree with you.
right. I've never done one of these before, so I was trying to have a couple options to go with if needed. Ideally, a 40 by 60 would suit us just right.
Okay. Other questions?
Any comments from the neighbors?
No, didn't receive anything.
No one's here to speak for or against.
And I know they got them. I know they got your letters.
No one seems to have a problem?
No, where it is, nobody's got windows right there. I mean, we're all spread out pretty good, so, and the elevation, the neighbors that would be closest to it, they either don't have windows that face that direction. It's gonna kind of be right in line with the house, so it wouldn't obstruct anybody, and if it does, they're plumb on the other street, so they're not looking, they're just looking in our backyard anyways.
Your lot is close to an acre, I believe.
.97, I believe, sir, yes.
Any comments from the codes department?
No, he's 12 foot off his property line. So anything 6 and above, he can exceed the height. He gets a foot for every 2 foot over. Going with a 412,
412 pits, 16 sidewalls, to put 14 door for the camper. And there's room there to kick it more towards the garage if we had to. I think I'd set it at 8 foot off the garage. It was 8 or 10 foot off the garage. I forgot to bring that.
you show 8. And 6 would be the closest.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I figured. So that put us 14 off that fence to the west.
No, we don't have any objection to it.
Any questions?
No.
I didn't see any other outbuildings.
I got a little Menard plastic shed that is overflowing right now, so that would all go away once
Okay.
the shop was built, yes, sir.
We would want a condition added.
The condition that no other buildings be built, and I guess, Brian, you and I talked about.
Yes, you were out there yesterday, yep, yep.
Any further questions or comments?
I just have a question. Is the request for the 1,200 square feet over, is that for the 40 by 60 then? The 1,200 square feet, do you have a request to exceed the maximum square footage of an accessory structure by 1,200
We
square feet?
fall into the extra boundary of the city limits, so I was told we fell into the 1,200
Well, he
square
means,
foot.
Is it, the 1,200 square foot over, would that be the larger building or?
The 40 by 60 is 2,400 square foot, which would be double what we can build, I guess, without having to do a variance.
Yeah, that was my question. Yeah.
Right, yeah, so 40 by 60 would be the 2,400 square foot, double, basically, the
Yep.
1,200, yes, sir.
Any other question? It is sitting beside a two-story house. I don't think there would be any height problem.
Is it two-story or split level?
Two-story.
Two-story.
Full basement, 2 stories above
Okay,
ground, yes,
yeah.
sir. Well, I had a 60-foot man lift to put Christmas lights up to give you an idea that the high side of the house, the way the elevation falls. I just put a septic system in, or another leach field in within the 70-foot. We had 24 inches of fall. Gives you an idea, kind of, it's a pretty good the lot's on a pretty good little angle there. So yeah, I'd say the peak of the house is probably close to 40 foot.
Questions, comments? Any other further, anything further? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve or deny the request?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the variance, section 39.12.011C-1, and there will be no other buildings permitted on this property after this is completed.
Motion by Pat, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trevor. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Pat?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Very good, Ryan.
Thank you, sir.
Do a good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything further? Tom, do you have anything else to discuss this morning? No. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
So moved by Trevor, second by.
Second.
We are adjourned. Yeah.
If I could make my apologies about being trying to get too many things before I.
You're excused.